Also, guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the first time you're tuning in. Please make sure don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you've done that before, thumbs up. So today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the Transformer Rise of the Beast title animation like you've seen in the Transformer Rise of the Beast trailer. And if you don't know, now you know. So I'm going to create a new composition as usual. I'm going to leave it 920 by 1920 by 1080. So let me just make this thing short so we're not going too far. And mind you, I'm not going to be making this as detailed as the one you saw on the transformer because it's a really large storage. The main thing we just want to be focused on is how to make that logo animation which it flips on different side. So I'm going to be writing this now. Next I'm going to be putting the text on the screen in transformers. Sorry, this is actually out. So so the O is actually the part where the logo will be actually be making switch. So I'll give it 2 space and transform. So this should be it. And make this on a full screen so we can see this properly. So I'm going to be taking this text to the middle. Yeah, pretty much. So I'm going to be changing text to the Transformers text. If you don't have it, you can check the link below to download it, or you can just check on for Transformers free text download, font download. So we have this now. So I need to scale this up a bit. Scale. Yeah, so this is good enough. So the logo will actually be here on this part. Yeah. So now the next thing we need to do is bring in those logos we're actually going to be using. So we need to bring in those logos for the other bots, the Terracoons and the other bots. So I have to go to my download file where I actually kept those files. So this was where I actually kept some of those. So we have one, two, one last one is a bit down in here. There are actually about 3 of them, so I'm just trying to look for the last one. So we got 2 of them here, so it's remaining 1. So we got this. Now we got the 3 logos, so you can actually take your time. If I should click this, this is the first one, the Autobot, and this is Tycoon, I think so. And then okay, this one's the stick logo, and then this one is the other. Sorry, this one is the other one, the Tycoon, I think so. So the next thing we need to do, we need to bring down these logos, this shape icon, and then we need to make them here, bring them to the timeline, all of them, because we need to make them fit in between the middle, like they need to fit in this part here, this is where, and they all need to be in 3D. So the next thing we're going to be doing, we have to start doing a layer trace. This are not actually PNG. If it was to be PNG, I'll just come over here to make layer and then auto trace to trace them as sorry, there's auto trace layer and then auto trace. Now this should have worked for them to trace out this image because we don't want this white background, we just need just this stuff. So I'm going to be manually doing that to this whole thing, to all the 3 logos. So I'm just going to be doing that manually all by myself. Yeah, let's say I'm going to be manually doing that all by myself for the 3 logos. I'm just going to be doing that. And yeah, so this might take some time though, but I'm going to speed up this process just because it's the sake of tutorial. And mind you, whichever one, once you crop and then it hides the other part of the image, all you just have to do is go back to the image layer, press M on your keyboard, changing from max to none. Make sure all your max part are set to none. So I'm just going to be doing this pretty much fast because of the fact that it's a tutorial. So I'm going to make this really fast. Okay, guys, so I'm done doing the track maxing of each and every of those layers. So if I should look, if I should zoom out now, you can see them each one of them actually marks. Let me try to select the max pencil so you guys can actually see it. You can see they're actually maxed out on each of these layers. If I should turn back this one, the same thing too. Like every of the layers are actually maxed. You can see all of them with their max. And mind you, all the max part are set to none. Guys, you must all set all your max part to none. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing now is to create a new solid, and then name this as element 3D. Yeah, element 3D. I'm going to bring this underneath this to be good. So go over to your effect and preset, and then sorry, effect and preset, and then make this select the element, type in element, then double click on it. Now I have the element here. So now go over to the on your menu, your menu. Go over to your custom layer, and then custom text and map, and then click this, and then select the transformer. We're going to be selecting everything from here. All the stuff we need to add, all their logos and text. So transformer, this is the first one, and then the second one, Autobot logo, and the other one, this comic, which is the Tycoon, and then the last one is what's it called, Transformerizer base. So these are all the logos. So now go over to your scene setup. So guys, we're literally in Element 3D now. So guys, all we need to do is now click on the extrude, and then now we have the you can see the logo here, the transformer logo, you can see it here. So we're going to be doing this 4 different times, and then changing the custom part to fit the text and the 3 logos. So I'm going to click this again, 1 2 3. So we actually have 4 extruded parts. So this first one, we're going to be leaving it as the transformers. So this, click on the second one. The second one, come over and change the custom parts to part 2, because that's where we fix in some of those logos. So you can see the logo is really big, so I need to scale this down by clicking here, the scale, and then come over and then shrink it down. Click the zoom in so you can see it closely. Zoom it down. Take it to the side, and then go over to the third one, change it to custom part 3. You can see that logo, so I need to scale this down too. Scale down, take it to the side. It needs to be a bit like this other one, so just take it down a bit. Yeah, this is good. So go over to the last one, change it to custom part 4. This is the last logo, the last head symbol of the Autobot triicon. I don't really know their names. So scale this down. Oh, sorry, I was scaling it backwards. Make sure it's the middle, and then scale it down. Make sure all 3 points are yellow. Click the zoom in. Yeah, now we have this it's all looking all messed up a bit because the old logos are just jam packed together, but that's not a problem. We fix all that. So now so we've got this now. We've got this 3 stuff. So if we should click on OK now, you can see the transformers. Like now we can actually see the logo here and the transformer. So now we need to make everything look more organized and matured. So go over to the scene. We need to add textures to this whole thing to make it look more classic. So now I'm just going to shut down all logos, leaving just at least one logo, this which is the one of the Autobot. So now, so the first one is the text. So okay, the logo for the Autobot. Okay, sorry, this is the logo for the Autobot. This first one. So the first one is the text. So now for this first one, I'm gonna extrude this out a bit. I think this will be good. Yeah. Then make this bevel copy. This for this first one, bevel copy, change this to 2. Yeah. So come up into like this. On the first one, go over to your preset. I'm using the Pro shader. Go over to metal, and then I think I'll have to select this. Yeah, this looks good. So for the second one, I'm going to be selecting the gold. Yeah, you might not be able to see this clearly, so I'm just going to click on the gold and then click on Z offset, take it back a bit, just so you guys can see it. Then change the extrude expand size Have to increase it a bit. Then for the black, go back to the black and then decrease the size down, take it down, take it down. This is just so we can see the edge, we can see all those parts. So take it down. Now we can see more intense part of the gold. You can see it now. It looks really good. So take it. You can take it down just depending on how you want to make it, but don't take it down that much so we can see all edges of the gold and that of the ash color. So I don't really like this gold that much, so I'm going to be changing this gold to another gold. So let me go over to my physical. Then I think I'll be using this. Sorry for this gold. I'm going to be using this gold. Now it's looking more, yeah, more vibrant, like the one from the trailer. So this black, I think I will change this black to something more. Let me check what that meant. Okay, I think I use this. Yeah, you can see the rough intensity. This was actually looking for. So now we got that. So we're going to be doing the same thing to this text here, this first text, the text two. So which is this one. Go over and then change the bevel copies to, and then for the first one, make it the metal black chip. Or wait, you can actually just try around to make to know which one is good for you. But I'm using this metal black chip. Then go over to the. You can see the texture is a bit not looking good, but we'll fix that. That's not a problem. So go over to the Z offset to set the second one. Z offset, take it a bit backward because it's causing this stuff here. Take it a bit backwards and then reduce the size a bit. So take it back forward so they merge together. Yeah, this is good. And then for the one in front, reduce it to reduce the extrude size a bit. Yeah, this is good. For now, the UV texture looks a bit rough. So what we have to do is select the text at the top, the UV. Now it needs to be the same size as the scale, because if we can check the scale of this text so you can get it well. This is the scale. You can see it says 100, so it literally has to be by 10. So the UV mapping, I should just put something like 10 by 10. Now we have a good looking texture here. Everything sits seamlessly. So now go over the other bevel by the back. So you need to select the same gold we use. So this is the gold we use for the other ones. So now it's looking good. So now the next thing we need to do, we need to reduce the size of the text. We need to reduce the edges, expand edges. So reduce it down. Yeah, now we can see the gold color really that much. So yeah, from afar you can see it clearly. The golds are actually looking good. Now we have this now. So now we need to do the same thing to every of this other logo, the other logos, because if I shut this down and bring in the other logos, you can see this one here. Make sure every of the logo are actually centralized, actually kept in the center of the whole thing. This is it there. Make sure they're actually at the center of it. This one here, the last one too, at the center. Yeah. So now we need to do the same gold color thing for all these ones. So come over here, change the bevel copies. Sorry, change the bevel copies to at least 2. First one needs to be metal black shape. Second one has to be gold. And then now select the gold. Let me zoom into it so you guys can see it. Select the gold and then Z offset, take it back. Then reduce the scale, extrude. Also that of the front one, reduce the extrude a bit. Yeah. And then for the black, expand edges, make it a bit, take it down so we can actually see the yellow gold color. And for the gold, increase the expand edge. It'll be a bit bigger so it's clearly seen. Yeah, we'll be doing the same thing to the other last logo. Yes, to this to change the bevel copies. Okay, you already have 2 bevel copies. Sorry, okay, no, that's like this is change it to 2. And then the front one, metal black shape, one behind it, gold.
So now from here, take the gold backward and then increase. You can scale this a bit because it looks a bit small. Okay, the black, increase it. Yeah. So now reduce the expand edge, reduce it down for the black, and then the gold you can increase it a bit depending on how you want yours to look. Okay. Now we have this. Yeah. So we literally have all this. So now if you click OK and go back and check this, wow, wow, this is like 50% done. We're still working on it. You can see how it's all looking just like the original one. So now if I should let's say I use the original logo from the other, but this is how it looks now. Wow, you can see this. This is looking good now. So the next thing we need to do is we need to make the animation whereby the logo was actually flipping back and twisting like flip, flip, flip. So that's the next. So the next thing we need to do is make the logo flip and then the camera zooming out. So for this now, we have to go back to the Element3d scene setup, zoom out. So now all these are the logos. You can see this first one here is the text. That's why when I let me zoom this, you can see if I should shut down this first one, it's actually gonna be going off. So this is just the text. Let me just shut that down for now. So all these are the logos for the whole thing that will be make it in this animation for. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select these three logos by pressing Ctrl and Shift on my keyboard, select all three logos, right click and then go over to auxiliary animation, set this to channel one. So now the first one the first one here is the Autobot logo, which is at the front. Let me take a closer look, zoom at it. Everything's actually jam packed, so you can actually see this well. So the first one here you can see is the Autobot logo on this first layer. I'm gonna leave this like this. So this is it. So second one here is the Tycoon logo. So I'm going to shut down the first one and then select the second logo, and then I'm going to turn this around, make sure this is exactly backwards. Okay, let me use from this perspective view. I'm going to be flipping this the other way, opposite the other side. So I'm just going to turn this from up to top. So I'm going to rotate this back. Make sure the part where the golden part should be facing backward directly. Use the blue line to measure this. Yeah, this is straight now. So if I should turn this back on, so we have two logos in one place. Let me go back to perspective view. You can see the back of the Tycoon and the Autobot logo. So let me take this to the front a bit. They are actually facing each other opposite like this now. So now let me turn on the logo of the okay, so just make sure you don't exceed this whole line. So everything should be beneath between this line, this whole place, because the whole text animation will be making this rotation here. So for the last logo, let me shut down this Tycoon and then turn the last one. The last one also need to make this flip back too. So I'm going to be viewing this from top, from the perspective of the top view, which is this is it here. So let me zoom in a bit closer and then click on the rotation to rotate this. Make sure the gold part it's what's behind the yeah. So we've got a straight one now. Now let's go back to the view perspective. So now yeah, exactly. So click OK on this. So now I have this. You can see it's actually showing this. Sorry, let me just turn this down. So we turn off this layer. So now we haven't just the Autobot. So click OK. So now good. So come over to the beginning. So let's begin our animations now. So come over to the beginning. Let it play for a few seconds, because the camera will be zooming out. So we can actually add our camera animation now though. So let's just do the camera animation, new, and then camera. Make sure it's the 2 node camera, and I think it's good this way, or we can change it to the 55. Let's see this 55 mm.
This should be good. So now click on press P on the keyboard, then click this, make sure this is click on. I'll take this forward to this 60 second, and then I actually have to zoom this in by pressing C. Press C on your keyboard to change the camera to. So zoom this in, zoom this in. Yeah, this should be good. Press C again to change. Let me take this a bit to the side so it stays at the middle. So yeah. So if I should play this now, this is what you're actually gonna get. You can see it. So it's actually gonna be making a switch. Okay, now so we've got a good camera animation now for the transformers. So now the next thing we need to do is to make the logo to flip, which is the critical part. So now come over to, yeah, I think this will make our face camera, the logo animation. So come over to your element layer. We're done with the camera so now. Come over to your element layer, go over to group one, then auxiliary animation. Remember we use auxiliary animation channel one, and then rotation. Rotation, this is where it is. And then this is the rotation. Yeah, this is the rotation we need to make it rotate clockwise. Okay. So this should be set at 0 0 first. Yeah, so it's like actually looking straight. So take it a bit few frames forward because we need everything to fit in as the camera is actually moving. So I think this point will be good. So now click on the wire rotation. I think this is it. And click on the stopwatch and then take a few frames forward and then flip this. You should make it a, a turn, at least half turn, at least okay, let's say 180 degrees. So yeah, so 180 degrees turn exactly. So now the next thing we need to do now, you see this as this, it's make it turn. So now we need to click this layer and then duplicate this. Now I'm going to be renaming this to as sorry, the one underneath this, I'm going to be renaming this to elements 2, just so we don't get confused, guys. That's why I'm renaming this. So now this element one, which is the first one, press E on your keyboard first so you can see the animation. So now you see this part, this is what we'll be using to demarcate this now. The point at which it's at the middle, the logo is at the middle. Press T on your keyboard, make sure it's at 100%. Then take this, let me zoom this in. Take this a few frames backward, just take this backwards, okay, at least one frame backward, and then reduce this down to 0 on the, remember this is on the element one layer. Now you won't actually notice anything because the logos are still the same. So now come back to this one here underneath the layer, go back to scene setup, and then wait for it to load up. Now change this logo, you can, because this is the first logo we're seeing, this is the Autobot logo. So turn off this logo and then turn on the second logo, which is this one. Remember the logo is actually facing backwards. So click OK. So now at this point you can actually see the other logo now. So let me take this back. So at this point now I'll have to press Alt on my keyboard, make sure it's at the middle, and then close bracket. So now you can see a flip. This is what is going to happen. You can see this now, it actually changed from one logo to another. But if you can actually notice something, it's actually going the other way. It's going anti-clockwise. We need to go clockwise direction from left to right. So now we need to work on this animation. So at this point, come back to the element 2, and then you can see the, if you're not having this keyframe show, press U on your keyboard to bring out your keyframes, any keyframe you made on that layer. So it's actually at 180. So we need to take it backward. So turn off the stopwatch and then turn it back on. Make sure it's at this point where the logo is actually facing front. And then go backwards. Use this top layer. Select the top layer. Press U. We need to be at. You need to move at same line direction at which is moving. This is where we'll make our keyframe. But we cannot actually see anything here because we actually trimmed this layer out. So come back to this part of the scene, and then where we can actually see it in action, and then use manually adjust this, take it backward, make sure it's going the other way. No, this is not the way. So this is the, I have to increase this, increase for it to go backward. So yeah, this is the middle spot. Yeah, so 80 plus 80 gives us 360 degrees. So 360 is definitely the middle. Yeah, so let's just leave it at 359 or maybe 1. So now I'm going to take this backward to match this animation, this which is this one. So if we should play this now, this is what we should get. Let's take this to the beginning part. So you can see that, see where it just moved in. Yeah, so that's what we're actually trying to do. But if it's not actually looking that cool, you can actually shift this animation, the opacity animation, so it's actually just fading. Yeah, you can see how it's just moving. You might not actually see it. You can actually put in a fading opacity fading to this. Let's say you take this a bit to this side and then let it play. So let's this spot. You can actually take your time to go through this, guys. So make sure it's at that middle spot. Yeah, this is the middle spot where everything happens. This is it. So let's play this. Yeah. So you can actually see it. So we have it at, yeah, this is part where the opacity of the first layer is at 100%. And then the next frame should be where it's actually at the middle, should be where the other layer is actually starting from, which is the element 2. And then the next frame should be where the other opacity of the top layer is actually at 0. So now we have a smooth animation here like this. You can see it. It just fades in. So at some point I think it's not good, looking good enough. Oh. So I think we should take this front a bit forward. I think you should take this a bit forward. So we should have something like this, let's say. So you can actually see that the part whereby the transition is at the middle spot. That's why I say you need to make the transition work at the middle spot here. So this is the part whereby you're actually fading the animation. So you can take this back a bit, one frame backward. So at this point where it looks like it's actually going down, and then you just get in the new animation immediately at that spot. So this is the spot where it's actually at the middle, sorry. So it should be at this point. You can actually take your time to work on this just to make sure it's all good. Yeah, so you can see it. Yeah, that's the spot where the whole changes actually happen at the middle spot. So it's not really that noticeable to some people. Mind you guys, isn't actually a perfect animation. I'm just doing this for the sake of tutorial so you guys can actually understand this whole thing works. Now we know we had multiple layers, so we need to do this for the whole other logo. So now the next thing we need to do is this layer. Now you need to select this layer here, element 2, and then press Ctrl D to duplicate this. Now it creates a new layer that says element 3D3. So take that one downwards. Now this one now. So I'm just going to shut this down for now. So go over to the top layer, which is this element 2. Press U on your keyboard so you can actually see your keyframes, and then let it play a bit forward, and then you still need to make another animation here. Press U on your keyboard just to see your keyframes on the second layer, and then click on the stop this part here to create a keyframe. Then go a bit forward, and then change this again. Take this forward. So sorry, take it backwards to make sure it flips. It brings the back of the logo here exactly. So at this point, this will stop this part now. So now we need to do the same thing we did for element 1, the first layer, to this one too. So now we need to make it as it's flipping backwards, it needs to change into another logo. So this is the middle spot. Always look for the middle spot. This is the middle spot. So we have to come to this layer and then press Alt and then open bracket. Now press U on your keyboard for you to see the keyframes of this one. This is the rotation. So now we need to go, if we turn on this layer now, we still having the same logo as that of the element 2. So now we need to go back to our scene setup on, make sure it's element 3, go over to scene setup. Yeah, go, so this is the scene setup. So now we need to shut down this layer, and we're on the last logo. This is, which is this one, is hurricanes. So click OK. So now at this point, it also needs to be at the middle. So let's first go to the end. So it needs to be straight like the other one. So it's already at its stationary straight position, because let's shut down this layer element 2 first. You can see it's the element 3, which is this one we just added. It's actually at the straight point. So all we just need to do is go to the point whereby the animation of this of the top layer, which is element 2, ended, and then create a keyframe here. So first of all, we have to turn off the stopwatch and then turn it back on. So a keyframe has been created. Now go back to the part where, this is the part where we're supposed to make the animation start from. So but since we trimmed out the layer, we can actually see what's on this part. So we have to trim it from here. We're going to move it, animate it back here, yeah, to make it flip to backwards. Yeah. So now we need to take this to the beginning where this one actually started, where the layer two started. So this is it. Now at this point, yeah. So now if we should play this last part, now this is what you should get. Now you're not actually seeing anything because the top layer is still visible. So now we need to fade the opacity of this layer at the point of the middle, like we did for the element one to element two. So it's transiting from one layer to another. So now this is the part where it translates. So press T on your keyboard. Click it. It's actually at 100% to click this. Then take this back one frame backwards, and then take this from 100 down to 0. So now if this should play now, you should get this. You see there's a sweet transition that just happened there. Naturally done noticeable. So you can see it now. This is the third one. So now as the end of the animation, you all saw that like it actually changed from the last layer back to that of the Autobot. So which is the first layer. So now what we have to do is we have to bring in this we can actually just bring in this first layer, but let's just duplicate this one more time. So duplicate this now by pressing on layer 3, press Ctrl D to duplicate. Now it creates an element 3D 4. So bring this 4, the one that 4, bring it downwards, and then now go over to the shut down the element 4, then go back to the element 3, which is number 3, layer number 3. Go a bit forward, and then at this point, press U on your keyboard to show you your keyframes. Select the animation, the stopwatch to create a new keyframe. Let it go forward, and then at this point, flip it again to go to the clockwise. Sorry, to go to the clockwise direction by manually adjusting the animation keyframes. Make sure until the golden part shows here exactly. This is it showing the golden parts. So now this is the part. Now we need to go back to the part where it's at the middle. Mind you guys, don't forget, always wait for the part where it's at the middle. So this is it at the middle. This is okay, this is the middle. Yeah, this is exactly the middle. So at this point, we need to go to the layer, element number 4, press Alt and then open brackets to cut to trim the part. And then select on the layer 3, which we are transiting from, press T on your keyboard. Select the opacity from 100, take it one frame backward. Sorry, one frame backward, and then the one in front, take it down to 0. So now we're not actually seeing, sorry, take it down to 0. We're not actually seeing anything because the element 4 layer is actually turned off. So if you turn this back on, this will be visible. But we need to make the animation work, okay, because it's just stable there. So we need to do the same thing again. So now this time, go over, select the element 4, go over to scene setup. So go over to scene setup. It's now in the Element3d layer. Now we need to turn off this layer and then turn back the first layer, which is that of the Autobot, and then click OK. So now it's actually facing backwards. We need it to face forward. So this is where we'll do our animation. So press U on your keyboard. This is the rotation from the first one. So I'm just going to click on the stopwatch and then flip it anyways, just to make sure it's facing forward. Yeah, so it's actually facing forward. So turn on your keyframe, yeah, your stopwatch, and then take it a few frame backwards and then flip it. Make sure it's going the other way around from back. Make sure, yeah, going backwards. You have to bring out these gold parts. Now you need to make sure it matches, the keyframe matches with that of the layer in front of it. So this is where it starts from. Make sure it's starting from the same place where the first one starts from, which is this yeah, sorry. So drag this to that point, then bring this one to the where this one is ending. So this is actually it. Yeah. So now I think it's pretty much. So you can actually check on the camera animation. Okay, this is where it actually ends. So let me bring this a bit closer. So if I should play this now, this is what we get from the whole animation we've been working on for the past few minutes. Let's see how it actually look at in the end. Wow, wow, guys, you can actually see that it's actually looking not that bad, but you can actually notice some tiny, tiny glitches from the keyframe, like some part where it's actually looking like it's blinking. This was due to those opacity fading, so we need to fix in those tiny loops. So let's check any part that has a glitch. So there is a glitch on this part, so we need to just work on the animation. So if you are actually having some of those glitches, you need to also fix yours too. So this is the part we're having a glitch.
So we should check down. Okay, this is it. Oh, no one did. So this is supposed to bring this part out to fix all those glitch. So when it's actually going down, so I think this part also needs to be fixed. So let's just see it trim this back a bit. Okay, so that's fixed. So now let's check on any other part where we're having that issues. So let's see. Should we play this now? Okay. So that's pretty much that's it on how to make the Transformers logo from Rise of the Beast transformer animation. You can actually take your time to work on this. Pretty much perfect to make this look more good. So when I actually preview this, how it actually looks like. So guys, if you're actually having any issue whereby the layers are actually blinking, you should take your time to work on the transition whereby the layers are actually mixing in with the transition. This part, I noticed some of you might be having issue at this part. So you can just take your time to adjust it. Make sure where the keyframe ends is where the other one begins. This is the opacity of the layer. This is how you actually need to make it. At the part where it's actually at 100%, it should be the beginning of the second layer, which is the second element. So where one is actually going out, that's where the other layer is actually coming into play. So like you can see, this is where the opacity for layer one ends, and then this is where the whole thing begins. And it's make sure it's at the middle of the screen. The logo is at the middle of the screen. So that's how you can actually get a smooth in transition to make it look like the Transformer Autobot Rise of the Beast trailer. You can actually add more stuff to make it look more classic. Adding fire stock asset and everything to make it look more classic. But for this tutorial, we're just going to be ending it here. We just have to make it just show you guys how you can actually do that to make it look cool transformer animation, especially because this is what we're actually focusing on. So guys, that's it for this video. We were actually supposed to add in more assets to this, but the main focus of this video is for just to make sure you see how we made in the logo transition, this logo at the middle of the screen. That's our main focus on this video. For more videos, guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I hope this video was helpful. And if it was, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and peace out for now. Thank you.